We're not going to talk about the hair, okay? Yes, it's straightened, and yes, it's a slight difference, but that's not why you're here. Welcome back, friends, to another episode. Today is a tossy-turny one because this one is a little different than the first one that we talked about. If you're new here, hi, my name is Cyberkin. I am the host of this podcast series. My hair is normally curly, and now it's straight right now. So let's move on. This story, my friends, is juicy. We're going to call this the office lottery scandal. Oh, imagine this. So there's a small office in a small town near me. We're not going to say which names. We're going to call this person Lisa. Lisa works with about 15 other employees. They've been doing this big tradition every year where they save up money and they buy lottery tickets. Now, they never really win anything big until one fateful Friday. The numbers come in, and guess what? They hit the jackpot. Now, this was a small jackpot. It wasn't newsworthy or anything, but we're talking a couple $1,000s after spending, less than 25 in total. So this is on a Friday afternoon, okay? And this is where this starts. The person in charge is Lisa. She's the one in charge of buying the tickets, and she doesn't tell anyone that they win. So she quietly quits her job on that next Monday, citing personal reasons. A few weeks later, a former co-worker sees her on Facebook living large in the Bahamas. So she takes this money and she goes on a trip to the Bahamas, sipping cocktails and showing off her new little setup, her getup she has. And by thousands, it was close to probably, people were saying, estimate maybe 10K at most, which is a weird number. It's a local jackpot. Don't expect a lot, okay? The office puts two and two together. Lisa quits, takes their lottery money that they gave her to go buy these tickets, and she goes on a splurge vacation. So together, they go ballistic. These people go crazy. We're going to call this group the group of the office, just one collective group, okay? They demand answers. Some of them even threaten legal action. But Lisa, who claims she bought the specific winning ticket with her own money, not the group's pooled funds. There was no paper trail proving otherwise, no group agreement, no witnesses, just trust. Okay, that's all they had with each other, just trust. They trusted her. And again, the money that they gave her for these tickets over the years, usually they got profit back from them. This time, there's nothing. Moving to the other section, the office is completely divided at this point. Half between Lisa, who pulled the ultimate betrayal, and the other half saying, hey, there's no proof, no case. The money is still missing, but there's no proof or trail that she cashed that money to buy these tickets to then splurge on her vacation. So let's keep that in mind, okay? Instead, the office is trying to figure out the story, trying to figure out, obviously we all know now that she's using this money somehow, but there is no proof and there is no connected plan at all. So the strategy of buying separate tickets so that even if she won, she could keep it all. Did she do that? What did she do? What did she do? What did she do? Is she a true criminal mastermind, or is she just really lucky? And should the office have done more to protect themselves? Well, let's dive into this story. This story was sent in from, I would say a coworker, but someone who worked in a legit office, and I'm not going to say which. I'm not name dropping anything, so we're not going to get into it, okay? Let's break this down real quick. Lisa, person who works at this office with 15 other people who were considered at this point friends. She wins it big with the lottery. She wins money, not big enough to be announce worthy, but enough to rise up, okay? She goes on a vacation and quits her job. She uses the rest of the money to basically quit. Like, she uses it to, she's like, I'm done. First of all, why on earth would you quit? I have no idea. I feel like that's stupid. But I think she just she won the money and thought she was going to, make it big in the Bahamas, I guess, and make it large. My question is, this would be a great one to discuss because it has, it has a lot happening. We have a lot of things happening here. What would you do? Okay, we could talk about this for a while. Here was something funny that I discovered. Lisa's ex-husband just came forward with text messages proving that she used the office money later down the road, okay? So let's backtrack. Lisa and her ex-husband were still in cahoots. I know this story is already crazy. Let's break it down to this point. Here we are and to this point, okay? Lisa has proof now that she did this. Lisa's ex-husband has proof saying that she did this, that she used the office money. The problem they're having at the office is finding where did it go. If there were no paper trails, There is no evidence that she actually used it. She just has texts. So her husband goes to the group and shows them the text later. So weeks go by, she's nowhere, she's done, okay? The office is furious with her still, and they're still wanting, proof of what's happening. Okay, let's break down this whole story that I just gave you. I threw a bunch of information, not a lot of context. You guys are probably going to be confused, like, what's happening? Is this just nonsense? I broke it down step by step. So let's talk about it. Cha-cha-cha. This is really juicy, in my opinion. Number one, the setup, the office lottery tradition. The employees at this office, by the way, this is an accounting firm, that's the official title I'm going to call it so we have a name, accounting firm, have a lottery tradition. Every Friday, the team contributes $5 each to collect a lottery pool of totaling $75 at the end of each week. The team trusts Lisa, a friendly but somewhat private woman in her late 30s, to buy the tickets every week. They keep track of the numbers. They're trying to plan out whose ticket will win a bid for the group. It's a fun little ritual, and no one really expects to win. Most of the time, they lose money in this. But at the end, it's just $5 every few weeks. No big deal. It's just like if you were to buy drinks or anything else. So Saturday morning comes. Lisa checks the lottery numbers and realizes they've won big. Thousands, more than they ever thought, okay? Instead of celebrating, panic sets in. Lisa's heart races and she stares at the numbers. She has not told anyone. She's the only one who has the winning ticket. At this moment, she makes a huge decision. She won't tell anyone. Why? Maybe it's greed. Maybe she feels entitled that she was the only one ever buying the tickets. And after all, she was the one scratching them, keeping track of whose money went where, everything. Or maybe she convinces herself that this week she used her own $5 separately to buy a personal ticket alongside the office one. Whatever the justification, she stays completely silent. 2, we have the disappearance. Lisa quits suddenly. She doesn't even put in her 2 weeks. On Monday morning, Lisa sends an email to HR saying she's quitting immediately and puts for personal reasons. No goodbye, no explanation, just she's gone. This is strange, but no one suspects much. Lisa has been complaining about work for a while. Most people complain about work. That's not, I would say, anything to justify what's happening. The office assumes that she found another job or had set an emergency. The suspicion begins. 2 weeks later, a coworker named Jack, who's a close friend with Lisa, scrolls through Facebook and sees something crazy. Lisa's on vacation in the Bahamas. She's drinking champagne, and she was seen at the beach. She posted a picture with the caption, "New beginnings, #blessed, #made it out." At first, people think this is a joke, guessing she found somebody to sponsor her. Maybe she had a secret side hustle. Maybe she was, funneling out money. Maybe she just spent it all of her savings. Here's when things go downhill for her. Number 1, you should never ever post on social media when you do something like this. Technically, this isn't criminal, but she did technically steal $75 at this point from her coworkers. The realization, she stole the winnings. The office scrambles to check the lottery results from that week. They go through all the numbers they already had and the ones that she never reported. They find out that the ones that she didn't report was the one that won. Then a horrible thought goes through their mind. Did Lisa take their money and claim the winnings for herself? A full-blown investigation now is going to begin. Text messages are checked, bank statements are examined, but there's a problem. Lisa didn't send pictures of the ticket that week. Now the office is going full-blown investigation. Half the office is furious, saying that Lisa stole from them and that she should be sued or something. By the way, I've looked this up before. You can't sue someone for, taking a lottery ticket number. Not possible, because there's no proof which ticket won, except of whose it was. So here's what we have. Someone decided to contact for theft, not of the lottery tickets, but they're going to try to go the theft route on the money that is gone, the $75 from this week. The office decides Jack, who was a close friend later, has a lawyer friend. But again, there's no proof. But he's talking to a lawyer, asking if there's any way to get back at Lisa in the sense for, here's where it gets crazy. Lisa made the mistake, though, of texting her ex-husband. Why she's in cahoots with her husband, I would never understand. Lisa says over text, "I can't believe it. I actually won something. I won something that I've never won in my life. He says, okay, why are you sharing this with me? Because I finally made it big. I'm finally making the choices I've ever wanted in my life. Just thought you should know. And he's like, okay, odd. She never texts me. Why is she telling me this now? That's when this changes everything. With these messages, the office now has proof that Lisa knowingly accepted the winnings. She took the money and texted someone. By the way, the person, the ex-husband, shares this with the group because he's like, hey, my ex-wife was telling me that, she was finally happy with her life and finally discovered something that, she always wanted to do, which was apparently to go to the Bahamas. So here's where things get a little interesting from here. Lisa now has gone to the Bahamas, spend all the money, and decides she can't stay there forever. She's still jobless at this point, but she goes back to the state, back home. She goes back home, okay? The office now decides we're going to get her back for fraud of stealing our money. Who cares about the winnings at this point? They're still furious that she would do this, but we're just going to move on, okay? The attorney from Jack messaged them and says, hey, you have somewhat of a case, and now you have some evidence that could help against this. We can take it up to court if you want. We can take this up and charge her with fraud. Is that possible? Sadly, that's where the story kind of ends here. Because there's no proof that Lisa actually used the office money, even though the $75 was not refunded, there's not enough actual proof still to this day to figure out what actually happened. Though Jack talked to the lawyer, though he said you have some evidence, it's just not enough for a judge to prove and charge her with fraud, because what would be the point? It would be almost stupid at this point. They would spend more money with a lawyer, dragging her to court to figure all this out, to charge her for fraud of stealing their 75 or whatever amount for that week, than do anything. So though the story is crazy, it's not enough, though, however, to make a statement in case. We just have to cut it off there. So I hope the story is something that you find fascinating, as I did. I found it very interesting to hear from. If you want to send in more stories, please do. You can contact me. I can contact you. We can have more of these stories to share for other people. This story was, again, sent in from a friend of a friend who told the story about this years ago. She worked for a law firm, and then they moved to an office building, which I'm not going to say the names of. Again, Lisa's a made-up name. But yeah, the company decided not to do anything. Business can't do anything, and they can't do anything with Lisa at this point. This was years ago. She said 5 years ago this happened. We have moved on, obviously, and stopped doing that tradition of lottery, because who can trust who at this point? A lot of the friends have quit or moved on to different jobs. So, the story goes, don't trust your friends at work, because they're not your friends. They're not there for you. Anyway, that concludes this segment. I would like to eventually have more stories to share and have longer episodes if I could, but right now, this is my only second story. So if you have more to share, please share, and I would love to hear feedback from you. This has been another episode. Again, my name is Josiah. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time and listening. I would love to hear more from you guys in the future.